Most explanations of cryptocurrency are highly technical, unoriginal, or just completely wrong. So after years of being full-time in cryptocurrency, I've spent thousands of hours and put thousands of hours towards actual implementation to figure out what I believe to be the best definition of what cryptocurrencies are. And I'll share that definition with you in this video. So before we continue, I'll introduce myself. I'm Fitz, and I run a cryptocurrency and blockchain consultancy and brokerage firm. One of the largest hurdles, or the largest hurdle, in the whole entire space, or the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, despite what people may say about scalability issues and slow transaction times, is actually increasing awareness and understanding of what cryptocurrencies and blockchain are. This video is specifically about cryptocurrencies though. Although the two are connected, I'll reference cryptocurrencies only for now. So at the end of this video, if you enjoy the content and you want to hear more from me, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the bell. What are cryptocurrencies? Cryptocurrencies are digital tokens or coins that facilitate the decentralization of networks. All right, so Fitz, what does that mean? Like, what is that? What is decentralization, and what kind of networks are we talking about? All right, so let's break that definition down. Let's break that sentence down. Decentralization is actually the verb or the action that represents what is being done to the subject at hand. So let's start with the actual subject so we have a clear understanding of what we're referencing. Networks. Networks are essentially a fancy word of saying community. Each network has its own major purpose, but the key ingredient to every single one of these networks are people. Without people, no network on this earth, on this planet, will function properly. Something that I want to point out is that the networks that we are most familiar with have a single entity or a person that controls that particular network. The person who controls that network essentially collects most of the value. So even though you and me are the people who make up this network and give this network value, there's always some person or some group of people that harnesses this value and gets ultra wealthy, super rich off of these networks. So they use these networks to leverage funding. They use these networks to spread their own ideals or ideology. They use these networks to sell our data. So they have multiple ways of monetizing these networks, but rarely do the participants who are the core essence of these networks see that value. So I just want to make that very clear for you as far as what a network is and how the networks are currently structured. Now let's move on to the next part of the definition. Mind you, let me repeat the definition one more time. What a cryptocurrency is. A cryptocurrency is a digital coin or token that facilitates the decentralization of networks. So to decentralize something means to remove the center of authority from that particular situation or organization. Now, in case you don't really understand what decentralization truly is, I'll give you an example from a book, a really great book that I picked up called The Starfish and the Spider. So we have two organisms here. One is a spider that represents a centralized organization, and one is a starfish. It represents a decentralized organization. Now, the major difference between these two organisms is one, the spider is governed completely by the head. If you remove a head from a spider, it will cease to function completely. Not only that, but if you remove a single leg from a spider, that spider will be severely debilitated because everything is dependent on that one head to function. Now, if we look at a starfish and we remove a leg from a starfish, that starfish will actually grow another leg. That starfish will still function properly. If we cut a starfish in half, that starfish will turn into 2 starfish. It's a really, really interesting fact that I didn't know before, but it really helps me understand the difference between a centralized system and a decentralized system. And lastly, one really interesting thing about the starfish decentralized organism type is that each individual leg has to agree before the entire starfish move. One leg cannot determine which direction or at what pace or when the starfish moves. Every single leg has to be in agreement before that starfish makes a decision. All right, so now that we understand decentralization, how does a cryptocurrency come in and decentralize an entire network? Well, essentially the cryptocurrency comes in and breaks down the network into tiny bite-sized pieces. These bite-sized pieces are now have a signature in the form of a cryptocurrency. Those cryptocurrencies can then be spread out, or that cryptocurrency that now represents the network can be dispersed into thousands of different pieces, which allows the network members themselves to own that piece of the network. When you own a piece of cryptocurrency, you are the only person who controls that. Now, the true innovation behind all of this is the digital scarcity aspect. Now, I won't get too far into it, but that is the key element to why these cryptocurrencies can break the network down the way that they do and give us ownership that no one else can take from us. All right, so what does this mean? Why does it matter? Well, I'm glad you guys asked, because that means you are super intelligent and you're going to go far in this crypto space. Well, the cousin of decentralization is disbursement. What is being dispersed? Wealth. A huge, absurd amount of wealth is being dispersed. How can we see this wealth being dispersed so that we can really understand what the impact of cryptocurrencies are? If we look at Uber decentralized the taxi industry. All of the wealth that those monopolies controlled now is being dispersed to the actual drivers themselves. The drivers who deliver the actual value, which is the transportation from point A to point B, now make considerably more than they would by driving for one of those monopoly taxi companies. So we can see how breaking that network down into a simple app really had a huge impact on this particular section of our economy. Imagine that happening in every single network that we're a part of, and you actually owning a piece of that network. And as more people join that network, you gain more and more value. All right, so let's sum it up. The most valuable entities in the world are valuable because of the networks that they control. If we look at some of these networks, Facebook, Instagram, even the US dollar is a network, which is why Bitcoin is getting so much attention, because it stands to disrupt the system or the network of the US dollar and replace it with something else that's much more decentralized. Cryptocurrencies come in and disperse the wealth from these centralized networks back to the actual members of the network itself. So each network participant gains a huge amount of value. So closing thoughts, what does this look like in practice? Imagine Facebook being decentralized, or imagine owning every piece of data that Facebook collected from you. And you get paid whenever advertisers or big corporations wanted to use this data for whatever purpose they needed it for. That's easily a second form of income. So just think about that. All right, so finishing up, I hope you guys have a much clearer understanding of what cryptocurrencies are and the impact that cryptocurrencies can potentially have on your life and the economy as a whole. If you have any questions, I would love to hear your comments, so please do not be shy. Leave a comment below. I'll be sure to get back to you. Peace out.